Last thing I'd like to cover today is relating to the tools and resources that are available through the court system. So a couple of tools and resources that are really good to make use of is number one, mediation is available through the courts for parenting time and legal decision making. If you feel safe participating in the mediation, the court's mediators can be of assistance in reaching agreements. If you do have safety concerns, it's important to let them know about that so that you can be accommodated. Similarly, you can ask the judge for a parenting conference. This can be with or without the children being interviewed. The parenting conference is a useful tool. First, the cost of it can be broken up into payments by the court, so it can be really, relatively inexpensive. And they will meet with you. They'll look at any information that you bring. They'll look at your questionnaires. They'll talk to both of you, and they'll try and help you come to agreements in terms of how the children will be parented. Where there aren't agreements, they'll create a summary of those for the court along with a written recommendation for the judge. This is a really helpful tool and helps streamline the court proceedings. Another option is what they call a court-appointed advisor. If you've had police involvement, domestic violence involvement, if there's been child abuse allegations, anything along those lines, the court-appointed advisor is a social worker generally who is appointed by the judge to speak to the family, speak to the children, look at all of the records, do any investigating or research that needs to occur, and then make a written report to the court along with recommendations and updates. This is a really helpful process because it may be difficult for you to access all of the records you need to make your case, and the court-appointed advisor can help facilitate those records to the court. The Attorney General's office has a central address registry for domestic violence survivors. It's a very valuable tool because it gives you a fixed address to use on things like forms and driver's licenses. The mail is forwarded to you, and it helps ensure your safety and security. If you don't feel you need that, you can still get your address protected for the family court proceedings with the protected address form. It is important to remember when you're filling out all of your forms that if you have submitted for a protected address, that you write that in instead of writing in your actual address on the various filings. This helps, again, with some of the safety considerations with the court proceedings. In addition to the protected addresses, you do want to look at parenting time. So where is it safe to exchange children? Is the other parent able to have parenting time that's unsupervised, meaning are they safe with the children on their own? If they are safe with the children on their own, you can use a website like Custody Exchange to look at the various schedules and see what meets the needs of your family. If you do have concerns about exchanges, I highly recommend having exchanges occur at school for where there's a clean pickup and drop off and less chance for running into each other. If exchanging at school is not an option, then you do want to look at safe public locations. Trying to pick a location where there's cameras like the Fry's marketplaces is sometimes a successful option. These are considerations to have as you fill out your plan and make your request to the court. The next big issue is legal decision making. Where there's been what the court calls significant domestic violence, there is a presumption against joint legal decision making. What that means is where there's been domestic violence that the court deems significant, there is a tendency towards sole legal decision making. Sole legal decision making, you'd still generally need to inform the other parent what's going on, but you can make the decisions. This can generally prevent a lot of the conflict that could occur if choices and decisions for the children had to be negotiated. I think that if there has been significant domestic violence and you're not able to effectively co-parent with the other parent, sole legal decision making is very critical to getting the services and tools you need for your children. And decision making is not the same thing as parenting time. So just because you have sole legal decision making doesn't mean that the other parent is excluded from having access to the children. Sometimes people are afraid to ask for sole legal decision making because they believe that the other parent can't see the children, and that is not in fact the case. It is important, though, when you fill out the forms that if you are checking the box for domestic violence, to potentially add an attachment that explains to the court why you checked that box. Sometimes it's hard for the court to infer what's really going on, and if you have true safety concerns, it's important to let the court know what those are so that they can provide options to help you work through it.